PhoreMost is a relatively new drug discovery company based in Cambridge. We are drugging undruggable targets. Obviously, we don't think that's really true. We've developed a technology that allows us to identify, firstly, the right target very quickly, but find ways of drugging them that other people can't see. Drugs are essentially shapes, docking to target proteins, and we find the right shape very, very quickly with our technology. So really right from the beginning, we started collaborating with a range of big pharma, including Novartis, more recently companies like o2h in Japan. Identifying the right targets the industry really needs. Pharma don't do that anymore for themselves. And academia can provide it, but commercial companies doing it systematically, we're the only ones doing that properly. Drug discovery, time-wise, cost-wise, I mean, it's getting longer and it's getting more expensive. Science is telling us how to do it more rationally, but still we're not organised well enough to do that. And so I'm really committed to finding the right targets, and that will speed things up. We can find drugs more quickly, and if we can work collaboratively with other companies to develop those really quickly, can we pass those cost savings on to patients? I believe we can. So in the future there's a lot more drugs to be developed, and we have to do a lot more quickly. Firstly, angel investors do take a longer-term view sometimes than VCs. Biotech can be quite long. It does take time to develop drugs. But if we can do it quicker, and I believe we can, that could change. There are also ways of getting exits without necessarily bringing an end to the company, for example. So early investors can be bought out by newer investors. So that's something we're looking at too. But biotech is not like developing an app where you can develop these really quickly. Succeed and fail really quickly. That's not still quite the case with biotech. Obviously funding is important, but it's much more than funding. So we have like minds. We want to do drug discovery more efficiently too. And the range of contacts. So business development, you need to contact lots of different people. So we have some, but o2h definitely have a big network, and that really has a lot of synergy. Obviously, there are things that people currently think are game changers. I started a company before PhoreMost that got into the genome editing area. So that's become big, but there's still a lot of hype around it. And I think there is some hype around AI, for example. It has a role, but I don't think it can replace biology and chemistry to a whole extent. So I do buy into that, but I think I'm a little more reserved about it. I tend to look at what are the therapeutic areas that I think are up and coming. Cancer's always been big. It's advancing quite rapidly. It will still be big. But I am looking towards what are the next big problems to solve. And I think it's going to be diseases of aging in the main. So things like neurodegeneration. The other area I think is really interesting is looking at mental health. And that's where something AI could become a good diagnostic for, but you are going to need better treatments. And I think it's a really interesting area of looking at recreational type drugs, but used in a safe way that could have long-term benefits on depression. Obviously chemistry is interesting, but you told us a lot about how you're building community in Ahmedabad in India. And the social aspect of what you're doing for that community along with the science I thought was really impressive, and actually sort of inspired me along the way as well. So